Hey everyone, Draco Magnius here for another episode of Let's Blindly Stream Angels with Scaly Wings. In the last episode, we got the bad end, Anna's bad end, and, well, we saved one world, but doomed the human world. So, it's a third trip around. Let's see if we can do any better on trip 3. Continue your journey, Draco. That was the plan. Thank you. Chapter 1. Trauma. I should probably close Discord because it's popping up in the game. I should really just stop that. I can reopen it later. There we go. Okay. I awoke from uneasy dreams looking at an unfamiliar ceiling just for a moment. I wondered where I was before the events of last night came back to me. After a good stretch, I looked around the room illuminated by the sunlight coming in from the window. Outside in the distance, the portal I had emerged from proudly stood on the peak of a small hill. Getting ready, I noticed something lying on the table. It was the note Remy had left for me in case I needed anything, along with his own phone number and work number. There were also some numbers for delivery of food and other necessities, as well as emergency and even janitorial services. He had certainly thought of everything, even though I now had to wonder what a dragon plumber might look like. My musings were interrupted when the doorbell rang. I opened the door. I was met by another dragon. When I opened the door, rather. Alright. Skip that one. Bryce led me back to the apartment. I guess there wasn't really much for me to do in the meantime, as I was spared the more arduous parts of the investigation. Maybe I should have been glad about this. Though now I had an afternoon to fill. What should I do? Well, let's see. I could try... So I haven't really seen Adine's line to completion. So I should probably try to get Adine all the way to the end again. And I barely started Remy's. So maybe I should continue with Remy, so Adine and Remy this time? Though there's also Lorem, who went missing at a certain point, and I am very curious about where the flying fuck Lorem went. So I guess we'll do... How about Adine and Lorem? Possibly with Bryce as well, because... Well, if I spread myself too unevenly, I'm not going to get anything done, am I? So I'm going to need... I want to complete Adine's, and in retrospect, I probably should have looked up what to do to get certain endings, but I didn't. So, who the hell do I want to start off with? There's also Sebastian, isn't there? I mean, we know where he ends up, this being our third run-through of the game. Maybe there's a way to save him if I spend more time with him? That's a possibility. So the question is, who do we hang out with now? We've got a lot of different options, and I have no idea who I want to start with. I could start with Adine, just to, get the one I've already done out of the way. Remember that Adine had told me the cafe did deliveries as well. And not having anything else better to do, I figured I should try it out. I made an order with a quick phone call, and it wasn't long before the doorbell rang. Well, that was quick. It just so happened that Adine herself stood in the doorway dripping wet with damp containers in her grip. Oh, it's you again. But we were over this, but at least you don't reduce me to my species anymore. Likewise. Shouldn't come as a surprise considering you knew I had what? Knew I deliver. Wow, that was fumbling all over myself. Considering you knew I deliver for the cafe. Here's your order. Sorry it got a little wet, but it should still be okay. You're soaked. Why don't you come in? Thanks, I was just about to ask you if I could stay for a little while. This was actually my last delivery for the day, and I live on the other side of town. Of course, I can let you fly back when it's this ugly outside. Yes, thank you, system. We will skip because I've done this. You know, if you want me to come over again, you don't have to order anything to do it. Here's my private number. I'll keep that in mind, thanks. Bye! Alright. Okay, so now who do I want to meet with? Alright, so there's Remy and Lorem and Bryce and Sebastian. Let's say Sebastian, Remy, Lorem, Bryce. I could do Anna, but we've gotten all the way to the end, and I don't think I have anything to actually assist us in getting her out alive. So I've got 4... Oh, wait! You know, there's a perfect opportunity. I have 4 options. I also am a fan of D&D and have a shitload of dice just lying around. I'll just roll a d4 and we'll decide based on what Lady Luck decides. So let's make Remy 1, Lorem 2, Bryce 3, Sebastian is 4. Well, looks like we're going with Remy. Option number 1. For this run, it's Remy and Adine, if I can get Adine to the end of hers. He told me to meet him in the lobby, but nobody's here. Maybe I should look for him. He can't be too far after all. Why, yes. Yes, I would like to skip it. Thank you, system. Anyways, thank you for your help. If there's any way I can repay you, just let me know. How about you invite me to dinner sometime? That's fine with me. You've got my number, so call me about it when you have the time. I will. Have a nice evening. You too. We parted amicably, or so I thought. Would I see him again? I wasn't sure, but I kept his number just in case. Wow, that was quick. Then again, I skipped both of the things because we've already been through them. Chapter 2, Duty. We might even get through 3 chapters, honestly. Well, everything with Remy is going to be new, but Adine is just going to be quick. Because we've gotten through most of her timeline. Skip. It was a relief to leave the crime scene. Considering all that had happened, when I reached into my pocket to take a look at the list, however, I found something unexpected. It was a small piece of paper with the word Tatsu written on it. How did it get there? My earlier encounter with the masked person was the only time today someone was close enough to smuggle something into my pocket. I figured if someone like Bryce tried to do something like that, I definitely would have noticed. Hey, welcome! Yep, we just started, so you hadn't missed much. I've just gotten past what, we've already done before. I've decided that this time, I didn't go through Remy's timeline last time. I focused on Anna and Adine, but I didn't finish Adine, so we're going to work on Adine and Remy this time. As for Tatsu, the only related thing I could think of was Tatsu Park, which I had come across when I went to the police station the other day. Even if that park was the place of mysterious paper referred to, I don't know if it was actually a good idea to visit. The masked person may have saved me from the falling light fixture, but if it was Reza, It would mean following someone who was also the prime suspect of 2 murders. I also had to consider the list of places Reza had been to. A local grocery store, and the production facility we had visited, and the library were 3 places closest to here. It certainly was going to be a busy day, and I knew I wouldn't have time to visit all of them. Alright, so Tatsu Park doesn't seem necessary. We did that in a previous timeline, and I don't know how to open the hatch that's on the ground. I don't have the code to it yet. So it'd be an exercise in futility to go there and just mash my head against the steel plate over and over again at a constant rate. So how about the grocery store to start off, and then the production facility? That's alright. Let's see. Yeah, sure, let's go to the grocery store first. I entered the store, and the sound of the bell alerting staff to my arrival. Seeing the patrons browsing shelves neatly stocked with wares neatly stocked with wares of all kinds, evoked some feeling of nostalgia and normalcy in me. Okay, don't do the facility. Got you. This must be the store Reza's been shopping at. Who's he talking to? Hey, I think I've seen her before. I'm sorry, but this prescription has expired. I can't fill it like this. You'll need to tell your parents to visit the doctor so he can write you a new one. She turned around and She turned around, nearly running into me, when she suddenly bolted toward the door. Hello, Draco. How can I help you? You know who I am? How could I not? Everyone knows about you. Anyway, how can I help you? Do you remember Reza coming here? Of course I do. It's only been a few days since he was here last. Last here, rather. This will sound a little unusual, but can you tell me what he bought? Are you just talking about the last time, or every time he came here? Both, I suppose. He came here more than once? See, the thing is, I haven't really looked up the ending, so I'm just sort of going directionlessly, honestly. This is still blind. I've gone through the plot at least once. I'm gonna try and get through Adine's stuff, if at all possible, and I'm gonna try and get through Remy's stuff. But I don't feel like I have enough information to get the good ending for anybody yet. So I'm just sort of coasting still. Okay. He's been visiting pretty regularly, now that I think about it. Interesting. I can look up his purchases if you like. That would be really helpful. Shouldn't be too hard, just give me a second. I watched him carefully navigate the register's buttons, soon followed by the sound of the attached printer. Here you go, receipts from all his purchases. Well, that was easy. Since our government takes care of all his purchases, they're filed separately. It was simple to pull them up. Not to spoil, but Remy's good is ridiculously annoying. Oh, good! That's... Looks like he bought mostly food and snacks, sometimes magazines? But why was he buying lemons every single time? Maybe the dude really likes lemons. Or he's writing, like, things in invisible ink, I guess. I can't say I didn't notice, but I figured it was just a human thing. Strange. In any case, that was more information than I expected. You have my thanks. You're welcome. Out of curiosity, who is that? You mean the girl? That's Vara. She comes here occasionally to pick up her mother's prescription. I guess just browsing? Let me know if you need anything. What am I even looking for? Let's look at produce, since he mentioned lemons. Who would have thought that dragons are big on produce? I don't even recognize some of these. Okay. They have a surprisingly big selection. Since when do dragons eat bread anyway? I guess at least I'm covered in case I want melon bread. In case I want any melon bread. Hey, you! Are you talking to me? Why do you have a box on your head? Excuse me, ma'am. Are you aware you have a box on your head? That's not normal. Yes. What do you say? Melon or lemon bread? I mean, the only difference between the two is like one letter. So, how am I supposed to choose? Oh yeah, she also has gloves on. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I don't think that's how it works. Why don't you just go with the one you think you'd like more? That's a good idea. Why didn't I think of that? Is that a cardboard box on her head? Finally, I notice. Let's look at meat. Press H? Oh, well, now it's too late. I didn't see that in time. Meat, of course. Lots and lots of meat. Fresh meat, smoked meat, cured meat, dried meat, prepackaged meat, prepared meat, ready-to-eat meat, meat snacks, burgers, kebabs, nuggets, whole hams, bacon, meatloaf, sausages. Oh, okay. Good to know. And that's not even all of it. Needless to say, they have that area covered. Let's look at the health aisle, because I'm curious. Everything from food supplements to skincare and even birth control. The variance in product sizes is astounding, especially when talking about birth control. I think these ones could fit my arm. Enough browsing. I should go back to what I came here for. Hey, I looked at everything the store had to offer. I'm a window shopper now. And now I leave. Suppose that's all I can do here. Alright, so... we're definitely not going to the production facility. Because, oh, hello there. Hey, Howard. Oh, okay. Good luck on your stream. Like we said, going to Tatsu Park seems like a dumb idea because I don't have the way to open that hatch. I'm not going to make the same joke twice. I guess I could go to the library. I think we've already gone through that. But, fuck it. Let's go to the library. Alright, Reza, what did you want here? Hey, it's Remy! Oh, wait, we've been through this scene. I'll be able to stay as long as... Oh, alright. Well, I mean, you should go to sleep if you have school tomorrow. I actually have vacations from work, so that's the only reason why I'm streaming today. I'm not going to read all this since we have actually been through this scene before. I distinctly remember it. I think we actually went to the library last time, didn't we? Has Reza been here recently? Okay. Actually, do I want to speed through everything, or do I want to just say that, fuck it, let's speed through everything. Alright. Okay. That's all. Okay, the afternoon sun hung low in the sky, and I decided it was time to report my findings to the police. A brief call to the department, and I was on my way to an appointment with Sebastian. Alright, let's skip ahead. Anyway, you said you had some information for us, so what did you find? One explanation later. The receipts you got are interesting. There might be something more to them. Or they could just be useless record of his eating habits. You never know what you might find out about a person, their habits, or their plans anyway. This way. Fumble. You never know what you might find about a person, their habits, or their plans this way. The map in the library, I don't know what to think about that. He could have needed a map to plan something, I suppose, but who knows what he really wanted to do with it. It's the kind of detail that, on its own, might not tell us much, but could be critical later on, or crucial later on. Well done, Draco. That gives us some solid points from which we can continue our investigation. In any case, thank you for your help. We really do appreciate it. You're welcome. That should be all then. Since Bryce still hasn't come back, I assume the search is still going on, and I better get out there and help him. Guess it's going to be a long day. Can you find your way back to your apartment? Of course. Alright, I'll see you there. See you later, rather. Good luck. Okay, finally some free time. Whatever am I going to do? So we'll do dine now to get her further on in her thing. Okay. So yeah, we've definitely been through this one, so I'm just gonna speed it along. Save some time. Okay. When is the system gonna tell me I can skip? There it is. Right when I was guessing, or wondering. And then we'll move on to Remy. Do me favors, depends on the favor. Kind of long story, something I need. People at the police station. Maybe borrow, hand over a copy. What you need it for? Interested in doing investigation. And think of a few people. I can try. Alright. We're almost through. Still speeding. Sorry, Dime, but we've seen this already. It's gonna take me a while to continue your story. Okay, now Remy. Thank you again for helping me the other day. Without you, I would have been trapped sorting books for a few more hours. Inviting you over for dinner is the least I can do. No problem, really. It really is. There's something else you could do for me. Potato! I like the option potato, but I think no problem really is more accurate to what I would say. It's no problem, really. Besides, I'm also here to learn more about your kind. Spending some time in the library is only appropriate. Well, my gratitude is yours regardless. Anyways, is there anything in particular you'd like to eat? Anything will do. Steak. I could go for some meat right now. Man, there are some thirsty-ass options here. Shit. Anything will do, really. I happen to have some nice steaks left. How does that sound? This might take a while, so make yourself at home. With those words, Remy walked into the partially walled-off kitchen. There was no door, so I saw him open the fridge and take out 2 steaks before he set them on the counter. Soon after, he was already preparing the various ingredients with his somewhat clumsy paws. He was silent for a moment when he lifted his snout and looked at me from over the partition. What is it? I was just thinking about something. I could help cook if you like. Don't worry about it. All right. I looked around the apartment as Remy cooked and couldn't help but notice the almost mesmerizing tidiness that permeated the place. Shelves were filed with books, scrolls, magazines, and other various trinkets. Suddenly, the repetitious noise of vegetables being cut ceased as Remy returned from the adjoining room. I'll be back in just a minute. He went down the hall and vanished through the bathroom door. What should I do? Examine the shelves, go to... No. He's probably taking a leak or something. I'm not gonna invade his fucking privacy. Rude. Escape while I can. Examine the shelves. I move over to the shelves and idly look through the books and scrolls. Nothing particularly interesting caught my eye. From the titles alone, it seemed all the genres were more or less represented. Fiction, non-fiction alike. The scrolls were neatly stored in holders, though I couldn't make out the logical consistency behind their arrangement. Anatomy, huh? Let's check that out. Huh. I'm not quite sure what I expected. Let's look at pictures. I picked one of the framed photos to examine it more closely. It was a red dragon. I guessed it was a female of young adult or college age, though I wasn't sure as it was still hard to tell without looking at the obvious signs. Her crimson scaled head was adorned with frills that ran down the back of her neck. She wasn't familiar to me. Alright, fuck it. I probably shouldn't be looking in here, but I'll just take a quick peek. Now that's a huge bed, even for a dragon. I suppose they need to account for wings and such, but even considering that, it's pretty big. The bathroom door opened and revealed a white dragon. As he approached, I felt my stomach grumble quietly. I barely heard the muffled sound, but when I saw Remy's ears perk, I realized he had more sensitive ears than I expected. Hungry already, I take it? So... I'm so empty. You know what? I'm gonna go with that one because it's funny. Well, I'll give you something to fill your belly with soon. After entering the kitchen once more, I saw the dragon looked over the kitchen partition again. His mouth opened a little as though he were going to speak, but his brow scrunched with hesitation. Before I could say anything, he shook his head and continued to cook. Soon I heard the sizzling of frying meat as the delicious smell of steak wafted into the room. Fueled by its fragrant odor, I slowly lost myself to daydreams as I closed my eyes. Is something wrong? You're salivating. It's nothing. I was just thinking about something. Well, the food is ready. Enjoy. I looked down and saw that a plate was already in front of me, piled with steak and vegetables. Remy was already eating, so I took the knife he had provided to cut off a small corner of my steak. Then I pierced it with the fork. Then I pierced it with the fork, its 3 prongs penetrating the flesh unrelentingly. Slowly, I raised it to my mouth, and my tongue glided over the bare... Oh no, I was right. The bare substance briefly as it entered my lips. I took the first bite. A delicately crisp exterior, and a much softer and juicier inside. Medium rare. Nice. It melted on my tongue like butter as the taste spread to even the remotest corner of my mouth. It was almost perfect. So, what were you thinking about? Huh? Remy's words snapped me back to reality. Whoops, there goes gravity. You said you were thinking about something. I looked at some of your scrolls. You live here by yourself. I was thinking about the recent murders. Why do you use a stove to cook? I mean, there's a lot of options here, but I'm gonna do this first. Which ones? The ones on anatomy. Well, I do have a variety of books and scrolls, covering all kinds of different subjects. I saw as much. You may have heard that I had a degree in biology, which is one of the reasons I was given the honor of coming here in the first place. As such, your anatomy is of high interest to me, and one of the things I'm supposed to study. But my anatomy? I was talking about your kind in general, not you in particular. Oh, in that case, I might be able to find you something more comprehensive than a handful of scrolls. I'd greatly appreciate that, thank you. Do you live here by yourself? I do, honestly. You're the first person to visit in a while. He spoke softly and his gaze wandered. Oh, I see. Thank you again for inviting me. I'm curious about this one. Why do you use a stove to cook? I mean, can't you just use your fire? Well, for one, not all of us have that ability. Besides, we still appreciate the convenience that comes with appliances like this one. And not everyone wants to eat food cooked with someone else's breath. Breathing fire indoors is also a little unsafe. You know what? That's fair. That's fair and valid. I see. That makes a lot of sense. And now, for the obvious elephant in the room. I was thinking about the murders recently. Oh, what a terrible thing. People can be so cruel sometimes. They can be. Where I come from, incidences like this are unfortunately fairly common. Truly. Here it's almost unheard of. One just needs to take a look at the statistics to realize that it's very unusual, or just an exceptionally bad week. And that is everything. Anyways, how do you like the food? It's adequate, delicious. I would marry this steak if I could. I'm just gonna go with it's delicious. Thank you. I suppose you learn to cook well when you live on your own long enough. Or you learn to get takeout a lot, you know, whichever. Soon both of our plates were picked clean, if I could get words out of my mouth. Guess I judged your portion correctly, unless you want more. I'm good, thanks. That was an interesting steak. What kind of meat was that? Those were aurochs steaks. Are you familiar with that animal? I may have heard of aurochsen before. They are rather large, bovine animals, characterized by their horns and body shape. We get a range of products from them, meat and milk, to subproducts like butter and cheese. In addition to leather, felt, oils, and creams, we even use their horns and bones for a variety of things. That sounds similar to an animal we have back home. Speaking of unfamiliar creatures, why don't you tell me more about your species? Are you referring to me or all of us? Our society is comprised of a number of different species, which you've probably noticed by now. I guess all of you, starting with the basics. I'm sure you're aware, but unlike mammalian aurochs, we are reptiles. Though this makes me wonder about you. Based on your fur, I'd guess that you are a mammal, but you're very different from the mammals we know, other mammals we know. In the same vein, you don't share many characteristics with our reptiles back home. And by the way, we don't have fur, but hair. What's the difference? Well, there we go. Fur is a set length, whereas hair keeps growing. Fur is more dense than hair. Well, I mean, it's both, but... Fur is a set length that will grow, whereas hair will keep growing, so we regularly cut it. Is that so? Interesting. I was wondering something. Are you wearing all those coverings to make up for a lack of hair? I suppose that's one reason why humans wear clothes. The other is because we're modest as fuck. Well, maybe modest isn't the right word. We like to cover our shame, I guess? I don't know, that doesn't seem like the right way to put it either. We don't like having our dangly bits hang out. They also provide warmth and protection, and are used to differentiate us from one another. Sometimes uniforms are used as identification. Other times, clothes are just ornamental. What a person wears can tell us something about the person itself. That sounds complicated. We also have uniforms and wear some things for ornamental reasons, though our uses aren't quite as extensive. That brings up an interesting question. Are you endo or exothermic? We produce our own body heat. That's unusual. Where I come from, all reptiles are exothermic. Unless you count birds as reptiles, I guess. But none of your reptiles are sentient, correct? Maybe it has something to do with the Maybe it has something to do with our different brain structures. Maybe. Now that you've been in our world for a while, how do you like it here? I like the people. That's good to hear. Cultural differences can make things very difficult sometimes, even with the same species. I'm glad things are working out for you so far. Oh, I just remembered. I was able to save my game after all. Your interference was only a minor setback. Glad to hear it. It was quite a relief when I found out. You know, if that hadn't worked out so well, I would have had to consider making you play up to that point again for me. Ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah, sure. I wouldn't mind playing some of your video games. Is that so? Yeah, they're fun. I'd like to see what kind of games you have here. I'll keep that in mind. Perhaps I can show you sometime. You know, I'm glad you're here. Since you arrived in our world, we haven't really had the chance to sit down and talk. I agree. Yeah. That was my favorite option out of those three. I agree, it's been a busy time for me, as you can imagine. Oh, of course. Thanks for taking the time to pay me a visit. I always have so many things to take care of that it's hard for me to find time to do simple things. Something simple like this. I'm fumbling all over myself today. At least it worked out this time. Wait, did I just... Okay, yeah, I did. Whoops. You do have a point, though. I don't really know that much about you. I know where you work, but most of our conversations so far revolved around things other than you and me. Why don't you tell me more about yourself? I don't really like talking about myself. Why not? I guess I wouldn't know what to say. I'm not really that interesting. I feel that. Remy, I feel that. You are a mood. I don't believe you. There's a lot of uncertainty of not knowing how another person will react to something I say. I don't want to embarrass myself. Hey, at least you told me that. That's something. I suppose. Anyway, now that you've seen my apartment, I'm wondering what your home on the other side of the portal looks like. It's nothing special. Yours is prettier. Actually, everything here looks nice in comparison to back home. Is that so? In some ways. I'm not really looking forward to returning, but it's not like I have a choice in the matter. Suppose you could always visit if you wanted to. It wouldn't be that easy, I'm afraid. There's an extensive process involved for selecting who would go through the portal, and I was only one of many applicants. I'm still surprised that I ended up being chosen. At least you're here now. Indeed. So, what have you been up to since the last time I saw you? You mean, since I went into the kitchen and cooked the steaks? Very funny. I'm just messing with you, Draco. Ah, with all the talking, I totally forgot about dessert. Again, there are some thirsty, thirsty options here. I'm up for some dessert. Then I have just the right thing for you. I'll be just a minute. He neatly stacked our dishes before he took them into one of his forepaws and went back to the kitchen, using his other 3 limbs. I couldn't help but think that it looked pretty awkward. When he returned, balancing a plate with a rather attractive cake slice in a similar manner, I realized he would have to make multiple trips to carry everything to the table. I'll ask him if he needs help. Do you need help with that? Don't worry about it, I can handle it. You're my guest after all. Once he placed the first cake slice on the table, he went back to fetch the other. When he approached the table a second time, though, one of the tiny dessert forks started to slip off the plate. Remy reached with his free forepaw in his attempt to save it, but lost balance without its support and fell over. In an instant, the plate, fork, and cake slice flew through the air. The dish and the silverware clattered as the pristine cake crumbled into a sad heap on the floor. Oh no. Aww, perfectly good plate broke. I mean, the cake looks fine. For a few moments there was silence as Remy and I looked at the result of his blunder. I'm sorry, Draco. You don't need to apologize. Accidents happen. This isn't just about you and your cake. This always happens to me no matter how hard I try. You have proper hands, so do some of the other species. How can someone like me even be a librarian? Not a day goes by without me dropping a scroll or unfurling it across the room. But the customers don't care or pity me too much to say anything. It's a common sight for them, after all. This is about Emra, isn't it? I guess it is. I just don't see why someone like me got to be a librarian when there were others more qualified for the position. Or who were at least capable of not dropping the inventory on a daily basis. She makes fun of you for it. I knew it. I mean, why else would she have put me to... Fumble. Why else would she have me do these tasks all the time? Sorting books, carrying things from one place to another? I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't work somewhere where my worth is only the entertainment I provide. Why don't you just look for a new job? These positions have terms, similar to those of ministers. If I ended my employment prematurely, it wouldn't look great. How long do you have left? A while. Report her to a superior? Can you report her to a superior? Not really. It's not like I could prove anything. Her public and private demeanor are two very different things. And it would be my word against hers. I just wanted to have a nice evening with you, and now it ended up like this. I shouldn't have brought that up. Don't worry about it. I still think it was a nice evening. Maybe I should stop being such a sourpuss then. I can help you clean up. Thank you, Draco. We cleaned up together, and by the end, he seemed to be in higher spirits. Afterwards, we said our goodbyes, and I left, not sure what to think. Chapter 3. Superstition. The morning sun declared the arrival of a new day, and woke me from my vivid dreams. Memories of my home enclosed within the towering perimeter wall raced through my head. Peaceful landscape outside the apartment window stood in defiance of these old thoughts. Rolling hills, blue skies were familiar to me now, and the purity of the sight gave me hope. Draco, please come with me. What's going on? You sound serious. The chief will explain everything once we arrive. Okay. Hey, Chief, Draco is here. Thanks, Sebastian. You can deal with the situation here while I talk to Draco, alright? Of course. Draco, I've got some really bad news. Well, what is it? You know Anna, right? I've met her, yes. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this. Those few words were enough. Dread sank in, and I already knew. Don't... I ignored his words and walked past him. Oh my god! Anna died in this timeline? Well, this is already a shitty timeline. When I turned the corner, there was no mistaking her. Anna was haphazardly covered by a sheet, leaving her tail and blood-stained hand exposed. In the end, she didn't even deserve full What? In the end, she didn't even deserve full discredit... Discretion? Discretion. Are you okay? I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Let's just get this over with. Bryce nodded. And here's more bad news. The blood we found on the first victim in town matches the DNA evidence found on the second victim at the power facility. Furthermore, the murder weapon and method appear to be the same across all 3 victims. And that's going to be a big problem for you. Why is that? Because, with these 3 murders, Reza now qualifies as a serial killer. We won't be able to keep this whole thing quiet for much longer. Higher authorities, including the ministry in charge of your whole visit, will know about this soon. I have no idea what will happen once they do. I'm not sure what to say to that. I don't want to worry you, but we can be sure action will be taken soon. I've been considering this possibility for a while, and I think it might be best if you went back to your world for now. This way we can take action before the ministry does, and before this all becomes public. If we wait, we don't know what they'll do or how the public will react. With everything going on, it's too dangerous for you to stay here. No. No? This would be the worst possible time for me to leave. We've given up our PDAs and hardly have anything to show for it. We are owed several more generators, and let's not forget Reza is still missing. If I leave now, the only thing I return home with is my life. I have lost everything else. We need to get those generators, Bryce. I have no idea if your authorities will continue to uphold our deal or what they'll do to Reza, but I'm not leaving until this is over. If that's your decision, then so be it. Oh, alright, then let's skip. As you wish. Alright, well, I think we're gonna end this episode here. In the next one, we're gonna decide where we're going to investigate. For now, I guess I'll be, doing Yakuza next. But I'll see you guys then.